Art to me, it's kind of in the audience's hands. I like to create, and art provides that, whether it's visual art or making music. There's an itch that I want to scratch, and art provides that. My name is Oak Kelsey, and I live in Marshall, Minnesota. The mediums I like to work in are acrylic, Sharpie. I do stuff with collage, with stencils, chalk drawings. I like photography. At different times I've been more involved with making music. Sometimes I'll go out for a bike ride, and on the bike ride a lot of times I will do chalk art. Prior to doing chalk art, I was heavily into photography. It was like I wanted to kind of push the photographs and have my own kind of like hand or my own kind of art involved with it. So I would do some chalk art, and I would include it in kind of like collages, you know what I mean? Like I'd put some photographs on top of each other, or I'd put them together in like maybe a, like a grid or something like that. It was kind of a progression from photos, kind of photos with chalk art in it, and then it's just pure chalk art. So that's how I kind of got into it. As far as like my history with art or my involvement in art, I was probably even before I went to kindergarten. We had friends in the cities. She was a former high school art teacher, and we would go and visit her, and she would take us to like the Institute of Art. And I think at a young age, I thought art was cool. And I've all, been involved with like music, band and choir and that kind of thing. So even in high school, I learned how to process film, you know what I mean? I got into photography, learned how to print photos, do black and white photography. Even making zines, Xerox artwork, all kinds of stuff excites me, and I like to learn about new processes and try to create stuff while I learn about new types of art. Recently I was watching the Mary Tyler Moore Show, like we were watching, seasons of it. And so I maybe made a chalk drawing based on something that Ted Baxter said, or maybe some art that was in Mary Tyler Moore's apartment inspired me to create something in acrylic. So it can come from anywhere. A lot of times I'm waiting for it or I'm looking for it, but sometimes it'll just hits you. I first learned about zines, self-produced, magazines that people make on Xerox machines. I first learned about them in bike and skate magazines, and it was these self-produced magazines, and they would have addresses. So you would write to somebody, send them some stamps, send them maybe like a couple bucks, and they would send you a zine. And it's a lot of fun because, you send somebody a letter or you get a letter, and it's just cool to get cool mail from cool people. One of the things that I was able to be a part of was making a zine with David Kelsey Bassett and Kevin Asp. We made our own bike, music, and skateboarding in there too. We put it all together like in a legal size, so it was a square zine called Karazine. That was the name of it. It's cool because you can make it whatever you want. You totally have control over what you want to tell people, and that's cool because it's 100% creative freedom. Nobody telling you that you can't do this or whatever. So that was really liberating for me as an artist. Other times I would be part of other projects, not have 100% creative control. So once I had that, and I could make my own zine or work with other people to make theirs, it was like, wow, this is great. It was very hands-on. You could put the stuff on the copy machine. You could totally manipulate it. My freshman year in college, I did a zine that was the first issue of Pulp. I did that zine, and then I did a few zines after college. Smoke Breaks, I did a few issues of that. I did one with Mike Lenz where he had one side of the zine, and then you flipped it over, and then I had the other side. I did a zine recently for my friend Al Roman. He was in the hospital because of COVID, and so I did a zine about a play that we were in together. The play was called Noises Off, and there was it's fun stories during the show. But yeah, people still do zines. I also think of like social media as being like a zine, especially Instagram, since it's very visual. In college, I kind of got more into music. Was in a band called the Teabags. being in a band, it was like, oh, anything's possible. Again, it's like a blank slate. It's like a clean piece of paper. Like, you can write songs about anything, you know? You can do a show, and the show can be anything, like the performance aspect of it. And I was fortunate enough to be with people who were like-minded, and we did all kinds of different music. We did hip-hop, we did funk, we did punk, we did rock, we did a little bit of jazz, we did a little bit of country, we did some polka. It was whatever you wanted to make it. You know, it was a blank slate. And also part of that was the shows, there was a visual aspect to that. So, like in our first show, we had like a slide projector on stage with like stuff going on behind us. And then there was a show at Southwest State and their Black Box Theater, and we were able to bring props on stage. We had like pillars, and we had a toilet holding up the bass drum. Our friend Eric Weber had some home movies and a film projector that we were able to use. And so there was like this projection of his family's silo being pulled down. They pulled down the silo and they filmed it, and he had home movies of this. And so we had this, you know, behind us going down, it's like, you know, the silo falling down over and over and over again. And it was great. And then there was some toilet paper. I don't know where the toilet paper came from, but the toilet paper got in the audience and everybody's throwing toilet paper. So that it was like a sea of toilet paper, like in the audience, and all these props and other, you know, kind of performance art stuff was going on stage. It was a great show, but it's like, you got that, you know, it's a band, you know, you're like, oh, what are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this. Not everybody thinks that way, but I was in a band where people were like into it. Me creatively, it seems like things go in waves, you know, like I'll be really into, you know, photography for a while, and that'll maybe kind of wane, and then I'll be into music for a while. I did have a show, it was Solid Wall of Sound with David Kelsey Bassett. It was like a show between the two of us, and it was kind of a collaboration of music and art. I mean, that was kind of the theme. A lot of the pieces had kind of a musical influence. Art-A-Whirl is in Northeast Minneapolis, and it's a, you know, all kinds of art festival in Northeast Minneapolis. And Grandapalooza is another kind of event within that. I'm friends with Scott and Donna Malman, and they're very generous and asked me to design t-shirts for them. So I've done a number of t-shirt designs for them. But mostly my stuff can be seen sidewalks and Instagram. I've gotten a number of people who asked me to do stuff for them through like Instagram, like t-shirt designs or logos. The first person was a gentleman who had a music label in Canada. His name's Jason, and he runs Roots Forward, and he had me do a t-shirt design for him. I did some stuff for Blue Nose Gopher in Granite Falls, a brewery there. I did a t-shirt design for them, as well as a poster. This 45 here. This is a Sifu Hotman single. So I did the artwork for it, and David Kelsey Bassett, he's one of the artists involved in this 45 here. I've known David Kelsey Bassett since 7th grade. The stuff we've done is, it's always fun. Most recently, I'm doing stuff with the North Star Roller Derby in Minneapolis. They asked me to design a logo for them. I think they're starting a new skate club, and it's called the Dead Possum Skate Club. I did a chalk art drawing of a dead possum. The woman was stoked on it, and so it's just cool to be able to say you did a design for the Dead Possum Skate Club. I tend to work on art in the evening because, you know, I have kids. So it's after they kind of go to bed where I have more time to do stuff. And so that's when I tend to paint or do chalk drawings or work on music, you know. But I also like to bring music into my chalk art or visual art. I mean, I do a lot of stuff with like musical instruments or lyrics. from songs. I include those in my chalk art, as well as my paper art, like acrylic art, that kind of stuff. So I guess going forward, myself as an artist, I'll continue to paint, do chalk drawing. Hopefully people will dig my stuff and be involved with more projects, but I'd like people to know me as an artist. If that happens at the end of the day, then I'm happy.